Hello, welcome back to our YouTube channel. Today I'm going to give you the 5 ways you can balance your blood sugars and how to keep them balanced. If you're new here, I'm Claire Snowden-Darling, the head of the College of Functional Wellness, and I have over 15 years experience in the healthcare industry supporting women's health and their hormones. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you like this video and if you find the information useful. So without further ado, let's get into blood sugars. Firstly, what are blood sugars? Well, blood sugars literally means how much sugar is in your blood. It's actually one of the most essential mechanisms in the human body to keep us alive. And having balanced blood sugars is absolutely essential if we want to be healthy and well. Now, blood sugars are actually managed by hormones. We tend to think of hormones just being to do with our periods and menopause and stuff, but we have all these different hormones that do all these different jobs, and blood sugars are managed by hormones. So the most commonly known one is insulin. Now, when our blood sugars get too high, we produce insulin, which brings our blood sugars back down. But if our blood sugars go too low, then we actually produce the stress hormone cortisol, and its job is to elevate our blood sugars. Now, the problem is if we have unstable blood sugars, so we're eating the wrong things, or we're not eating enough, or we're eating the wrong times of day, our blood sugars are going to be kind of going up and down and up and down, and it's literally like a roller coaster ride. The problem with that roller coaster ride is that's not how the human body was meant to function, and when we're in that place, we actually start to develop something called insulin resistance, which means that insulin is no longer effective. And that is the precursor to an awful lot of conditions, like the most commonly known ones would be obesity and diabetes, but also things like polycystic ovary syndrome, and also things like dementia are now linked to blood sugar instabilities. So there are other less known hormones, such as leptin, ghrelin, and cholecystokinin. We call that CCK because it's quite a long word. These are really, really important hormones because of the roles that they play, not only in blood sugar management, they're also to do with hunger, satisfaction, all those kind of things. So lots to do with blood sugars, making sure we eat, stopping us when we've eaten enough. But they also do other really important jobs. They're very key in making sure that we're not anxious. They're key in making sure that our bowels work properly. And they're key in things like weight control. So if we really want to feel very well and to, be a stable weight and to have good bowel movements and to not be anxious, we need to balance our blood sugars. So what are my tips to balancing blood sugars? My first tip is to make sure that at every single meal you have a dedicated protein source. So that would be meat, fish, eggs, tofu, or protein powders. If you haven't got a dedicated protein source in your meal, you are not going to be having stable blood sugars. That's not great. So a lot of the time people will be eating things like porridge because oats do have protein in them, but the problem is we have to break it down before we get the hormonal response. That can take a while. We really need that protein source straight away for our body to go, okay, I'm going to produce the right hormones to keep my blood sugar stable. My second tip is to not fear fat. Fat is your friend. It is hugely beneficial in keeping our blood sugar stable, and we also need fat to make all our other hormones. It does loads of jobs in our body, and we've really got into this fat phobic this place in society because of the low-fat diet trend in the 1980s, but we know now that that was completely wrong and the worst thing we did for human health. So we need to make sure that we get good fats into our diet, and good fats would include things like meat fats, so not being scared of your chicken skin and making sure you eat the rind on your pork chop, that kind of thing. Nuts, seeds, avocados, olives, olive oils, all of those kind of things. We need those in our diet. We need loads of them. My third tip is to eat every 3 hours. Now that sounds a little bit excessive, and you know, things like fasting, there's a lot of information about things like fasting. Fasting is incredible when we have balanced blood sugars. If we don't, then we are just piling our body with stress hormone, and that is completely counterproductive. So to begin with, I would really suggest spending a few months eating proteins, fats, and the right carbohydrates at every meal and every 3 hours. So basically, breakfast, and then a snack, and then your lunch, and then a snack, and then dinner. Like, do that, and make sure that it's always got protein in it. My fourth tip is to be careful of carbs. We need carbs, they're good for our health, but we need them in small amounts, especially if we have hormone issues. Like carbs, really important for our thyroid. I'm not about to go and be, you know, all anti-carbs, but in small amounts. We have all become carb addicts over the years. It's really important. Even fruit, don't eat them on their own. Eat them with the proteins and fats, and just eat them in smaller amounts. And then my fifth tip is to move your body. Movement is a great way of getting insulin out of your body without piling it full of cortisol. So move your body, but be careful of overdoing it. So don't be doing HIIT classes all the time, exercising too late into the night, doing really intense cardio. You just need to move your body for about 20 minutes and get which will help get your blood sugars nice and stable. If you would like to hear about a more in-depth talk about blood sugars and how to manage them, click in the link in the description box. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and remember to subscribe. I'm going to be back next week to give you more information on how you can take charge of your own health and how to support others in doing the same. Thank you so much for watching.